Good morning, and welcome to our Sunday worship service. I am Ginger Yoder, and I'll be your celebrant this morning. I am the Director of Family Ministries here at this church. I'm actually a longtime UU, as in I was born and raised Unitarian Universalist and in this church. So I've been here quite a while. And I'm just honored to be still not only a child of this church, but being able to serve this amazing community every day. I'd like to extend a special welcome to all those who are joining us for our first time. We are very glad that you're here. If you haven't already stopped in, please visit the welcome desk in the foyer, and you can pick up a name tag and a newcomer packet. Our welcoming committee members have yellow name tags and can point you towards additional information. And you are also invited to join Shira on the third floor. Shira's here somewhere. There he is. Immediately following the service for conversation and snacks. And a reminder went out yesterday, I think that reminds us that the upstairs conversation and snacks is for new people, but also for anyone who would want to come up and chat with new people. It's not exclusive. If you're joining us online, we'd like you to fill out a newcomer form on the website so that you can be in touch and we can answer any questions that you might have. Meanwhile, our usual practice is to gather in community for coffee and conversation after the service. And cake downstairs in the fellowship hall. So we have a full cake and a whole bunch of extra desserts and I think veggies and all sorts of stuff. And that was brought in after David Morrissey's memorial service yesterday. So let's begin in that spirit by saying our words of welcome together. Whether this is your first or your 1000th Sunday with us, and whether you strolled, rolled, zoomed, ran, or danced in, we are glad you chose to join us. We are one people of many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders. All are welcome here. We will now take a moment to say hello across the technical divide. First, we're going to show the people joining us on Zoom. If you're home and you feel comfortable, please turn on your camera and you can wave hello. Now, people who are attending the service in our building, it's your turn to wave. I like that you can see Sam's hand. We do have a couple of announcements. The first from Nancy Nelson.
I'd like to say a big thank you to the many people who were part of supporting homeless families who stayed in our church this week. We are one of the cooperating congregations that do Family Promise of the Palouse. And this week, 3 families stayed in our church, and it was much, much appreciated. If you didn't have a chance to help with that, but you'd like to help the cause, there's an opportunity this week. The LDS congregations that partner with us and do some of the volunteer nights in our building are doing a clothing drive and just a school supply drive, especially for teens. But actually all school-age kids, and it's happening this week. Please talk to me if that's something you would like to participate in. I appreciate so much the LDS folks who come and partner with us in this, and this is a chance to support what they're doing. Thank you.
Today, also at 1 p.m., we're having our middle and high school youth group. They're doing their own water communion celebration. So if you have a middle schooler or a high schooler, you could meet at the big red barn in the U of I Arboretum with me and Shira and some other amazing folk. And we are going to be doing an active water communion with them. We preface our service by acknowledging that our church was built on the ancestral homelands of the Nimipu, called the Nez Perce by the French-speaking traders, the Palouse, and the Shishumps, called the Coeur d'Alene. Let us pause and remember that we live on ground that is sacred, ground that was stolen, and ground that cries out for justice and responsible stewardship. May our remembering help us find the courage to do our part to restore wholeness to the earth and all her peoples. We're hoping that folks joining us via Zoom have a chalice or a candle to light and something to light it with. Let's light our chalices together. Luca and Sophie. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share. Please be seated. So good morning. Good morning. I am the Reverend Dr. Elizabeth Stevens, and I have the incredible good luck to serve this congregation as its minister. Will you repeat after me? It is. It is good to be. It is good to be. It is good to be here. It is good to be here. It is good to be here together. It is good to be here together. Thank you. Today's service is our annual in-gathering water communion, which is one of the few uniquely Unitarian Universalist traditions. The first water communion occurred at a Women in Religion conference in 1980. Gathering in East Lansing, Michigan, all of the women who attended were invited to bring water from home. The earthenware bowl in the center of the circle soon held water from both great oceans, many of the rivers that crisscross our continent, the Great Lakes, and more. And it symbolized the ways the conference participants had come together to create beloved community. Here at the UUCP, we celebrate water communion as we regather each autumn in honor of all the ways we come together to create beloved community here on the Palouse. Each of us brings unique gifts, perspectives, stories, and then we mix and mingle and somehow become something that is so much more than the sum of its parts. The water we collect today becomes our holy water. We'll use it in baby dedications and other rituals. I promise we boil it, and I usually put in a tiny bit of bleach too, because if I don't do that, it gets really gross. Anyway, we're going to begin by singing a song that we're going to return to as a refrain throughout the service. The song's title is "The Tide is Rising" by Shoshana Friedman. It's a zipper song. So I'm going to teach it once, and then we will swap out the words to make the extra verses. So in this teaching time, I'm going to sing a line, and then you sing it back to me, okay? The tide is rising, and so are we. 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 The tide is rising.
is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. So, I promise you'll get it. It's a lot zippier than that. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit. Let's sing it through together for this first time. The tide is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The task is mighty, and so are we. The task is mighty, and so are we. The task is mighty, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. This land is holy, but so are we. This land is holy, and so are we. This land is holy, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The sun is shining, and so are we. The sun is shining, and so are we. The sun is shining, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. Thank you. One person wasn't supposed to be able to move the log. Two people weren't supposed to be able to move the log. It was supposed to take a whole bunch of folks working together to move a single piece of our playground structure. So imagine how many people it takes to change the whole world. Luckily, we are far from the only ones working on this task. There are other Unitarian Universalists who share our values and a whole bunch of other people from other religious communities and outside of religious communities who are working on the same thing, moving in the same direction. Not in lockstep, because there needs to be room for different people to work on different pieces of the puzzle, but each in our own way. People of good will all around the planet are working in small ways to make this a better place, to make the dream come true, and together we can do great things. So let's sing again that second verse. The task is mighty, and so are we. 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 This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be.
Now let's take a moment to engage in the practice of generosity together. For those of you able to make a financial contribution, The logistics are on your screen. We typically give away all the cash from our Sunday offerings to local charities whose mission align with our values, a program called Month of Sundays. This month, the recipient is the Black African American Cultural Center at the University of Idaho. The BAAC, whose mission is to support Black African American students in an environment that is affirming, welcoming, equitable, inclusive, and diverse, in order to foster a sense of belonging at the U of I and beyond, with the goal of advancing human potential and growth. To donate, please indicate Month of Sundays on your check or from the online drop-down menu. In the spirit of love and for the continuing work of this church, we will now take some time to practice generosity together. So we unfurled our river. If you can't see it, you can stand and see maybe, but we have a gorgeous river now flowing across the stage. And if you were going to go to a real river out in nature, what might you see in addition to just the water? Fish, rocks, ducks, animals, trees, birds. Yes, all that would happen. Bears? From afar. I think our river might need some stones. Do you think that could help make our river more realistic here? So we need the children again, because we're going to pass around these baskets of stones. And they're kind of heavy, so we need the strong children who easily moved our playground structure to come up. All those strong children. Oh, I see so many. We have lots of baskets of stones. And pass them around, and everyone can take a stone that calls to you. We have actual river stones. We have glass stones. More here. Maybe work in pairs. No, we're going to pass them to everyone. Pass them to everyone out, and then we'll place them on the river. Sorry, I was not clear. Yep, if you don't have a basket, work with a pair or take some. Oh, here's some more. Oh my gosh, and we've got the big one. Oh, there's that one. This big one may take two. This one actually is super heavy. Right? Is it too heavy? You should have had to move a basket of snow. Okay, so I think she's not going to be able to handle them, so can you work with her? Luca, can you work with your brother and walk with him? So everyone's going to choose a stone. And if you're at home, perhaps find a stone or think of a stone in your mind. Oh, I didn't get one either. If you haven't had a stone yet, maybe if you raise your hand, the children will know where to go. There they go. Thank you, children. Choosing a stone is important work. Oh, Alex needs one too. I see Donna waving frantically. We need some stones right in the back there, Tommy. I see someone who needs one. Donna, can you raise your hand again? Donna needs a stone. All right. I think we all have a stone. So we're going to enter into a time of meditation. Children can take the stones back to your seat, and when we come up, you can use them to decorate like you wanted to. You can sit down with the stones. All right, let's enter a time of meditation. As you relax, let your breath get a little deeper. Feel it in your belly. Press your feet into the floor. Notice the way your bones and your chair support you. You are safe. You are held. Now, check in with your mind and your heart. Are there things that you are worried about? Things that you have to do that you're a little nervous about doing? Doubts about your own goodness? Negative self-talk trying to convince you that you are not good enough, smart enough, or skilled enough? Now bring your attention to the stone or pebble in your hand. Feel its weight. Notice whether it's smooth or rough, heavy or light. Let those worries, doubts, or negative thoughts or feelings flow into the stone. It has a beautiful structure. It can hold whatever you need it to hold. Life can be challenging, but as the poet Wendell Berry writes, it may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work, and that when we no longer know which way to go, we have come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings. Our challenges, our problems, our fears, our doubts are there to help us learn how to be better humans. They are gifts, even though they don't often feel that way. One of the gifts of being a part of a community is that when you are feeling burdened, weighed down, or stressed out, we are all surrounded by people who can remind us that we are beautiful, we are powerful, we are holy. The land is holy, and so are we. To symbolize the way our community holds us and help move us through difficulties, we're now going to place the stones on our cloth river. If you'd rather not get up, you can raise your hand and a child or another adult will come and get your stone and place it for you. For those at home, imagine placing your stone in water, or even do it for reals. They're always so much more beautiful when they're wet, aren't they? Stones. Let this stone, as you place it in our water, let it bless and wash away any feelings of inadequacy. You are enough.
Every last bit of us holy. There are stories from all the different cultures in the world that explain how what is came into existence. They are called creation stories. And you've likely heard at least a few of the many, many creation stories there are to choose from. What you may not have heard is that there are also stories that describe how the world is going to end. Those are called apocalyptic stories, and some of them come from the world of history or science or politics. There's an apocalyptic story that revolves around climate change, and another that involves war and weapons that cause so much destruction the planet can't recover. But the word apocalypse actually means to pull aside the veil. Apocalyptic stories are meant to be warnings. We pull aside the veil, we see what is true and real, and we change our behaviors and make different choices in response so that our planet can stay healthy and capable of supporting life. Now, you should have a piece of paper and a pen. We are going to turn these into boats. So if you aren't someone who likes, not yet, don't make the boat yet. If you are somebody who does not like folding, please raise your hand because we have some pre-made boats for you. If you don't like folding, you don't have to fold. Nobody's ever forced. Everything's always an invitation here. In this and all of the rituals and activities that we do, if you don't want to participate, if you're not feeling it, you don't have to. You can just sit quietly and reflect on what we're talking about or think your own private thoughts. So on your paper, or your boat, I invite you to write or draw one thing that is both true and scary, something that is a part of an apocalyptic story. So something that is true and scary. Now flip it over or find a different spot. And on the other side or in that other spot, I want you to write one thing that you are doing or thinking about or that you see in the world that gives you hope. So one thing that gives you hope. And now Ginger's going to show us how to fold it into a boat.
I've requested the services of Margaret for this because she is our resident origami expert. Have people folded boats in their past before? I felt like it might be, no. Okay, Margaret had the awesome idea.
Maybe when you were a child, think back.
Maybe it was just you making
really
us
did
do it.
this.
Make-
No, this is.
Okay, so let's begin. So first we fold it, hold it. This is called hamburger. Fold it hamburger, not hot dog. Like a hamburger bun. And then open it up. And now you have the crease in the middle. That's your exact half, right? So then you fold each of the sides down, like you're starting a paper airplane, right? Is this different, Margaret, than what you did? Let's have Margaret teach us. Here, Margaret, you get the.
Okay, you have your paper folded in half, yeah? So now you want to find the middle of this. So you do that by getting the corners together. You don't need to fold it very much, just give it a little crease, a little crease right at the end there, and that marks your middle. Then you want to fold the corners down along that middle line, both on the same side. Suppose you could do it. Yeah, fold down the folded edge. Yeah, open at the bottom.
It looks like a hat.
Yes, this is also a way of folding a hat, so. That I know how to do. Yeah, well, there you go, you're halfway there if you can fold a hat. All right, so then you do the same thing on the other corner. So,
Both to the middle.
like this.
Both to the middle. The bottom is open.
Okay, are we all there? Yeah. Okay, so then you take the bottom loose edges and fold just one of them up on the side where your triangles are to start with. That kind of gets you going in the right direction. So it looks like that. And when you've done that, turn the paper over and fold the other side up in the same way. On the other side, you want to keep that open.
This is the hat.
Yes, at this point you have folded a hat. So, as Elizabeth has so. Yeah, if you just want hats. But anyways, he makes a nice hat. But if you want to proceed on to the boat, open it out. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you fold up the edges. And then you fold the little corners over.
So they tuck in.
Yeah. They don't, just fold, yeah. Nothing special, just fold them over. Squeeze the corners together to make a hat. Okay, it looks like this. Push the corners together, and then you have a hat. Yeah, it's a square hat. And something that looks like this. Okay, now this is the hard part. Fold. See, there's an opening down here. Your hat. You fold the corners up to the top. Well, that isn't really the hard part. You're about to embark on the hard part. Okay. You get that? Yeah, with the opening. Yeah, want to make sure you have your opening there. Very nice. They're looking good. Here, hold them up so I can see them. Oh, yeah. Ooh, Charlie, you went and made your boat already. So if you need help, you can ask Charlotte too over on that side. Okay, so you've got your hat. Now you want to pull those corners out that you just folded up. Pull those corners out. They say this is the tricky part, and you kind of squish it down to make a boat. You've done this before, surely? You've done this before? Huh.
Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. So those of you who are here in person, I'd invite you to either come forward and put your boat on our river, or raise your hand and have somebody come and put it on the river for you. This is a promise and a commitment to do what we can to keep hope alive. At home, your boat is something you get to keep, or maybe slip into your pocket or recycle. The world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be.
We did it. Doesn't it feel good to engage in the struggle and then figure out your boat? Oh, we need a paddle. You have to imagine the paddle. I'll teach you origami paddle next time. Oh, they were on the internet. I'm glad you stopped me. No, it was, we did it. Thank you, Margaret, for helping us. Apparently, having Margaret as an RE teacher when you were a kid was not a universal experience, because I remember doing this in other origami here at this church, so it's kind of a throwback, I guess. Our next symbolism is about the sun is shining. We love the song, "This Little Light of Mine," because it reminds us that there's a spark of goodness and holiness in each of us, a light that we hold in our hearts, just like the light of our shared chalice holds. The chalice reminds us that we share our light and our love with one another, making the light brighter. And so it is this next thing we are going to do, is to share the light and make it brighter. On these two tables are candles for us to light and stick into the deep pan of sand. Just like a birthday cake, I want the sand bowls to be so bright that you can't even look at them without sunglasses on, like as if we're putting every single candle of how old we are onto that. And just as a logistical, let's start at the back and move forward so we're not reaching over our shared light and feeling quite how hot that might be. While you light the candles, we are going to share a reading that we've heard during our water communion almost every year for the last 10 years, which is "We Are Made for These Times" by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. So when you're ready, come light a candle and share your light.
Do you want to do this one more than mine?
Sure.
Okay.
My friends, do not lose heart. We were made for these times. I have heard from so many recently who are deeply and properly bewildered. They are concerned about the state of affairs in our world now. Ours is a time of almost daily astonishment and often righteous rage over the latest degradations of what matters most to civilized, visionary people.
In any dark time, there is a tendency to veer towards fainting over how much is wrong or unmended in the world. Do not focus on that. There's a tendency too to fall into being weakened by dwelling on what is outside your reach, by what cannot yet be. Do not focus there. That is spending the wind without raising the sails.
We are needed. That is all we can know. And though we meet resistance, we more so will meet great souls who will hail us, love us, and guide us, and we will know them when they appear.
Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world at once, but stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world, will help immensely. It is not given to us to know which acts or by whom will cause the critical mass to tip towards an enduring good.
What is needed for dramatic change is an accumulation of acts, adding to, adding more, continuing. We know that it does not take everyone on earth to bring justice and peace, but only a small, determined group who will not give up during the first, second, or 100th gale.
One of the most calming and powerful actions you can do to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. Soul on deck shines like gold in dark times. The light of the soul throws sparks, can send up flares, builds signal fires, causes proper matters to catch fire, to display the lantern of soul. And in shadowy times like these, to be fierce and show mercy towards others. Both are acts of immense bravery. and greatest necessity.
Struggling souls catch light from other souls who are fully lit and willing to show it. If you would help to calm the tumult, this is one of the strongest things you can do. The sun is shining, and so are we. 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 This is where we are called to be. This is where let's do this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. All around the world. All around the world. I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world. I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world. I'm gonna let it shine. Ain't gonna let nobody get out. Ain't gonna let nobody get out. I'm gonna let it shine. Ain't gonna let nobody get out. I'm gonna let it shine. Ain't gonna let nobody get out. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. This little light. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Please be seated. You're not going to be sitting for long, don't worry. Because now it's time for our water communion. We're going to form two lines and take turns pouring a little bit of water into the common vessel. If you didn't, now, some of you may have remembered to bring water with you, but if you didn't, don't worry about it. One of the neatest things about water is that because the molecules are endlessly recycled and reused all over the world, whatever extra water is in that pitcher probably has molecules in it that have been part of every place on earth and every one of us. So those of you joining from home, I invite you to take a sip of water and exhale. You can send some of the water molecules from inside you our way and know that there probably are already some molecules that have been part of you at some point in our pitchers, which is kind of cool. And we're going to start by adding the water from last year's water communion to symbolize the continuity of this community. We give thanks for all that is our life, for the rich variety of experiences and perspectives present in this room and beyond it. This, then, is our holy water.
It represents each of us, our lives, our hopes, our dreams, and journeys, but also represents our commitment to one another, to journey together, to be one gathered community, and to work to create a world community with peace and justice for all.
I invite you to rise now in body or spirit. We're going to sing the whole song through. June Jordan was the first to say that we are the ones we've been waiting for, but a whole lot of people have said it since, because each of us needs to be reminded that we already have what we need, both within us and in the company of one another. Everything we need to create the world we dream of. Believe it. Believe it. We're going to close with a litany. The words are going to be familiar. Your part is, and so are we, and I want you to say them with feeling. The task is mighty, and so are we. The land is holy, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. The sun is shining, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. And I invite you to rise. Everything we need, within, among, beyond. Trust in the goodness in yourself and everyone you meet. Trust in the power of love to heal our world. Please join me in the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice that it might beloveds, everything you need, everything you are, it's inside of us. Believe it and go forth. We are ready. Let's rise together. Go in love and in peace. Come back next Sunday.